And we are live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Global Citizens. My name is Calvin. I'm the show's creator and I'm the show's host also. So, today is a very, very special episode personally to me because the person that I invited today is actually one of the person who inspired me to start doing my content creation. I met her early this year end of last year in Singapore when I was back for a visit. We actually met at an event hosted by a company called Gembar. Zai, who is actually my guest here, is actually the keynote speaker for that particular day. So we keep in touch, and yeah, I actually was really inspired by her story, and I I have the privilege of inviting her today. So Zai, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. I am great. Thank you. How are you guys?
Fantastic. All right. Okay, so Zai is a really amazing woman. She's a two-time Amazon best-selling author. She's now an international speaker. She visited multiple parts of the world she's from Asia, but now she has also visited places like the United States. In fact, one of her recent book
I
was
haven't been to US
recently,
though. I've been to Europe a lot. Haven't been
wow,
to US. Yeah.
on your way.
Yeah. In planning. Yeah.
Yeah, and recently one of her books was received an accreditation from Singapore's current president, right? Am I right to say that?
Sorry again.
One of your book was recently received a shout out from Singapore's current president.
Uh, yeah. Actually, when I first published the book 5 years ago,
Wow.
yeah, I got a chance to meet the president, and she was so impressed, and she's like, "I'm gonna inspire the world," and I'm like, on the way, still
All
doing
right.
it. 5 years later. Yeah.
All right, Sai. Maybe you can share a little bit more about your personal story and how you actually got started on your entrepreneurship journey. Yeah.
Okay. So I have been in the entrepreneurial journey for 2 decades right now. Maybe I started when I was five. No, I wasn't five when I started. Okay, so it's been 20 years. So it started out as a hobby. I was doing henna art, and then I loved makeup. And then I used to be a model. And then it all came together, job together. I was the president of a makeup artist club in my school. So then I went to school not to study so much, more to do henna and makeup, I think, and meet friends. So that's how I got all my leadership and good social credibility and experiences, right? So that helped me a lot. Knowing my passion and pursuing it turned that passion into profit. So I was
Okay.
introduced to a friend who used to live in Japan. She's like, if you bring henna art to Japan, you make lots of money. And I was like, I just want to travel at the time. I didn't think about money so much. So what was supposed to be a 2 weeks stay became a 6 month stay in Japan. I was in between Tokyo, Nagoya, Osaka, doing henna art, teaching henna art to the Japanese, and we got interviewed by the magazines, Tokyo FM, the TV. It was just so fun. Yeah, so henna, and then 2 years. When I came back to Singapore, I was so certain I wanted to start a henna business in a henna school in Japan. Imagine I was like, I turned 21 when I was in Japan. I remember that was my 21st birthday in Japan. And now you guys know my age somewhat. And then
I'm not gonna say that. Okay.
do your math, guys. Use the calculator. Yeah, anyways.
What? Sorry.
God. Anyway, age is just a number. I feel 28 all the time, so it doesn't matter actually. Yeah. So I came back to Singapore. I became the foreign talent in my own country. I got
Okay.
recognized for the art that I do, and we had like bookings for henna art 2 years in advance from bridals, from brides, from corporate bookings and stuff. But the sad thing that something happened along the way. In 2005, I met with an accident, fractured, dislocated my spine, and the doctor said I will never be able to walk anymore. So that was a backbreaking moment, heartbreaking moment. But well, I took time out. I was in denial a lot, I think. But that whole year, 1 year into the accident, I asked myself, do I want to be victim for life or victorious? So then I decided I'm going to be victorious. I'm going to step up. I didn't die. I started questioning God. I started questioning life. Started questioning my purpose. Started questioning why am I still alive? Like, God, who are you? Who am I? And why am I here? That was quite life changing. And then I started seeking for who I am truly, and started looking out for God, like who is He truly. But in that journey, I thought I was looking for God, but actually He was pulling me back to Him.
So that okay. Okay, let me compose myself for a second
Let
here,
me
because
breathe.
I've actually heard that story when I met her, but it's still something that is really, really emotional and something
Yeah,
that is really, really inspiring. As
that,
typically, we let our circumstances define who we are, but Zai has managed to pull out of it, and she is really doing really well in her life now. Okay, Zai, my first question is this: what are the pillars in your life that has supported your life so far, from entrepreneurship or even your personal life? And you mentioned that you started questioning on God. Yeah, is that
yeah.
the main pillar, or is there any other things that compose it?
Um, from then until right now, I think my most biggest pillar of strength, um, I would have to give credit to my mom. She's my superhero, and she was a woman who had to single-handedly raise all six of us. My dad left when I was one. Um, she never stepped into a school. She never knew how to read or write. She never stepped into an office. She never went out to work. But all of us have been given proper education. My brothers have degree. My sisters have degree. They are teachers, bankers. We are entrepreneurs, and she never complained a single day in her life. She never whined or cried in front of me ever. But the only time she really, really was down was 6 months before she passed.
Oh,
So I
my
just lost my
condolences.
mom. Yeah, I just lost my mom 7 months ago. And 6 months before she passed, she was sitting in the living room and she said, I'm not afraid to die. I'm not scared to go to the doctors. I'm not scared to be sick. But I'm very afraid of leaving you behind.
Oh my goodness. Even when at her dying bed, she can still. Oh my goodness. Okay, wow.
Yes, yes. And I think she was supposed to die like even 6 months before that. But I think she was hanging on because she wanted to prepare her children at the end of that 80 years old. She was still hanging on to to prepare us, six of us. It was amazing. Even her grandchildren and great grandchildren, until the last 3 days of her life. That's what I learned. Huge biggest lesson in my life is that always know that you guys are enough and you have done your best. And if you know you have done your best, just let God do the rest and know that you have done the best of the best to the best of your ability. Because on the last 3 days of my mom on her deathbed, she was at home. I had to literally do hypnotherapy on her. Like, I'm like, Zai,
Okay.
you are the motivator. You need to help your mom go. And I love my mom. I mean, selfish as I am, I wish she didn't have to go, of course, right? But I had to
Absolutely.
sit, I had to just be there for her and just talk to her and tell her, Mom, you have done everything beyond imagination. You have raised us so well. How I find a partner or how I live my life after this, I have to take responsibility. And
Yeah.
and I saw her looking at me, and she was quiet, and that face, like, I know what you mean, but you don't get what I mean. Well, I know what you meant, but
Absolutely.
it was hard. But 3 days later, she passed. Beautiful passing, um, priceless feeling. It was a celebration of a life well lived. So I think my mom is my strongest pillar, will always be my strongest pillar. And even now, whatever I do, I know that is my future, to reunite with her in heaven with God. That is my new future. It's not like, oh, when I'm 60, what do I do? Future is not that anymore. Oh, that's now, that's present. Now, what do I do? But my future, yeah, that changed for me. My future is not 60, 70, 100. It's when I'm in heaven with her and God. Hopefully. So I need to do a lot of good now to make sure I make it to heaven. Guys, if you guys make it to heaven, make sure you look out for me. Like, God, she was not too bad. Bring her up to heaven. Yeah. So please.
Okay, so one of the biggest takeaway is really treasures your mom. I completely understand that. I'm so very attached to my own mother, and
Mm.
also okay, today is actually the 23rd in Indonesia. So happy Mother's Day, as yesterday it was
Oh, it
Mother's Day.
was. Happy
Yeah,
Mother's
so
Day. Wow.
happy belated Mother's Day to everyone. The first thing I did was I already texted my mom yesterday. So to every one of you who is watching this, do appreciate your mother for who
Yes.
they are, because yeah, I can completely relate to how much that amazing ladies to
Yeah.
all of us can be a pillar in our life.
Yeah.
Okay, so with regards to your experience, yeah, because you started your entrepreneurship journey in Japan, which is outside your home country, and it is completely different from your hometown, Singapore. It's because, for one thing, is that Japanese has always been a very heavy traditionalist country, and you enter the country as a Muslim lady. So, with
Yes.
regards to the cultural differences, what difficulties have you encountered from
Um,
that?
okay, so that was 20 years ago. I wasn't wearing the hijab at that time.
Okay, okay,
I
that's
only
good.
started like 13 years, 14 years ago. But well, culturally I look different. I'm Indian, I'm not
Yep.
Japanese. I don't speak the language. I somehow fit in so well. I love Japan. I always say I'm born in the wrong side of the world.
Okay.
And but well, and I love
So
the food and everything.
let me rectify that. You are born to the right person, but the wrong part of the world.
Okay, yeah, correct. I was born the right person, and that's another thing. I always wish I had more intellectual parents, richer parents, and I actually met friends who has that kind of parents. Then when I actually hung out with them, I'm like every day I keep giving thanks to God. My gratitude level got to 100% more, like 10,000% more, because I'm like, no, my parents are just right for me. I don't want that kind of parents. I love who they are. So sometimes be careful what we ask for, lah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So Japan, I kind of fit in well. But well, of course, when I tell the Japanese I'm from Singapore, they go like, "But you're not this." They thought all
Yo.
Singaporeans are Chinese.
Oh
Then
dear
I'm
Lord.
like, "Oh God!" And being me as how I look, I'm Indian, like origin Indian, but my mom's a mix of she has Malaccan, Pakistani mix and everything. So I have this like global citizen face. Like when I
Yeah,
go to
completely
Maldives,
different.
yeah, I go to Maldives, I look Maldivian. I go to Morocco, they think I'm Moroccan. Or when I was in UK, a lot of people thought I was from Africa and or Somali or something. And I'm like, okay, fine. So I always get into trouble at the airports more
Oh
than
my
in the
goodness.
even
Oh
before
my
I
goodness.
yeah, before I even go into the country, right? They were like, oh, is this your passport? I'm like, yeah. Then I always have a hard time at the airport. Like I become used to it. Like if I don't get into trouble at the airport, I'm like, hey, wow, that was easy. How did I get through? So it's like I have to lalu all the gates of every malaikat. It's like all the angels' gates. I have to go through. Yes, I am Singaporean. Yes, yes, yes. Check on me. Like go do whatever you want. Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
Ayo. That's
I think
okay.
many
So
people relate to that. Yeah.
yeah. So aside from passport difficulty, it's
Security,
what actually
security. Yeah.
yeah, what actually helps you to actually ingratiate life to the Japanese even faster though actually, because 6 months and now
Yeah.
to where you are now, it's definitely not easy. For one thing is that, well, nowadays, if you see entrepreneurship, maybe in social media, it looks glamorous. Like everybody somehow at a young age, you're traveling a different part of the world. Maybe I actually have a buddy of mine who is actually representing Indonesia in an international conference in Russia now. He's 27. It
Wow.
looks so glamorous, but the thing is, it's definitely not a very easy thing, and there's definitely a lot of challenges there. So for you, what actually allows you to allow you to adapt to it easier?
Well, not just Japan. If I can add, I used to live in Jordan, Morocco, Yemen for 2 years. So
Wow.
that's Arabic language, very different culture. Though when I went there, I thought, oh, everyone's gonna be Muslim and have a great time. Then I forgot there are other religions as well there. But the religion part wasn't a thing. But it was just culturally very different. I was shocked. I had huge culture shock, especially Jordan. Like in
Yeah.
Asia, we have all this sisterhood, brotherhood, what. There, everyone speaks screaming at each other. I'm like, are they fighting? And then my friend's like, no, no, they are talking, they are fine. And I'm like, oh wow, okay, that made me cry. I'm like, oh god, why do they speak like that? So culture
Yeah.
shock. So I think first thing first, language will be useful.
Yeah.
Language, trying to learn the language and adapting, because for me, I love learning languages. So even when I was in Japan, I learned Japanese within the first month.
Wow. That's good.
Not because I want to, but because they
You have
refuse to
to.
speak. So they refuse to speak English because they were afraid of making mistakes. So I'm like, yeah,
Okay.
they
Okay.
won't speak English. I learn Japanese. So I had my dictionary at that time. It was no Google Translator, whatever, 20 years ago. So I had my dictionary, and I enjoyed it when I could speak to them. Even in Morocco, my first was Jordan, then Morocco. I had to pick up the language because I love looking at all this elderly auntie walking in the street. Like I want to speak to them, and yeah, I think I love people, and I'm like, oh, I want to ask them how they are, like how's your day and stuff. So learning the language kind of help you fit in better.
Alright.
Um, Try to understand that we are all just one soul made by one, and don't feel like, oh, I'm Singaporean, oh, you're American, oh, yeah, there's no such thing. When we operate from the level we are one soul made by one hand, you
Yeah.
can adapt very quickly and easily, and it's no problem because you don't have that defense mechanism. Oh, I'm like this, my culture is like this. Oh, if you want to stay that way, just stay in your country, don't travel. Yeah.
Okay, for those who just tuned into the show for the very first time, yeah, Global Citizens is a show whereby I invited third culture kids, digital nomads, and expatriate like Zai, and she also has a reverse culture shop, I guess, to a certain extent, and she experienced at a young age. The reason being why I do this is because cultural differences is a big part, and nowadays the world is a lot more connected due to social media. So, one of my past guests is actually from India, Ravi. He is currently living in Germany. He can immediately see that there's a cultural differences because Germany, in German, precision and accuracy is of utmost importance. If you don't believe me, you go and check the dictionary. They have a word for every single thing, even some insurance terms I've never even heard of. They
Wow.
have it. And also they in German, according to him, yeah, is that control is something that's very important. However, if you are growing up in German yourself, you get to see the positive and the negative aspect, and it shapes your characteristics. And in fact, when you went back to your own country, people will view you, treat you differently, or even, well, there are times that you might not understand what they are, you cannot adapt to their culture well. It's because you are used to living overseas. So
Yeah.
this is the main purpose of this particular podcast. All right,
Yeah.
Zai. Okay,
Yeah.
so just now you mentioned a very beautiful term, one soul, yeah, with
Yeah.
regards to how everybody is living in this world. Okay, so actually this happened a few months back. Okay, so after I actually met some organizers for some public speaking events, and after that, I recommended some of my friends from Singapore, such as yourself. And the thing is that when I recommended about you, is that, well, they by no means are they being rude, because at that time their main idea is it's a business decision, because they are trying to attract speakers in order to attract audience to sell tickets. They are not being be rude, and by no means were they demeaning. However, they were put off when they actually saw some of your profiles, such as like you were wearing a hijab and all that. Again, let me stress, they were not trying to be rude, because they were just trying, because at the first place the event is a Christian organization, so they feel that it might not be profitable. So with regards to this, yeah, uh, how would you explain, in order for people to be a better acceptance of racial differences, for one, and two, how can other teachings of other religion can actually benefit you greatly?
Um, Personally, I have. That's a very, very, very powerful question, an
Absolutely.
important question in this day and age. When I say one soul made by one hand, I truly, truly mean it, and I'm a big fan of it. Not because I'm diluting my religion, which is Islam or Christianity or anything else. It's because I believe in the oneness of God and the
Okay.
power that all of us hold within ourselves.
Okay.
Okay, and well, I understand the being an empathy. I understand the concern of that Christian organization which you proposed myself to speak at. I hope they are
Yep.
watching this. Please send them this video. So I find that I'm not saying that organization. Generally, I think some organizations are afraid of inviting someone who is not like them because they
Yep.
are afraid of what will an outsider, a stranger, say to my audience. It could be
Yep.
something wrong. Are they trying to convert my people? They have
Yep.
their fears and their concerns, which is fair. But
Yep.
what is unfair is, I think, in the last, it's funny that you said this to me only 2, 3 days ago, right?
Yep.
In the last 2 weeks, I have been meeting so many non-Muslims, and I always attract non-Muslim people. And when we talk about, let's say, my Catholic friend, we speak about Mother Mary, we both end up crying like mad because Mother
You.
Mary is one of my biggest role model. And if
Yep.
you want to know, there is one whole chapter in the Quran dedicated just to Mother Mary, Surah Al-Maryam.
Okay. Wow. Okay, I didn't know that. I really didn't know that.
Surah Maryam, and how she had to birth Jesus. She was all alone, how she was accused, but she just went on and she pressed on. How in different seasons, winter she had the fruits of summer, and the fruits of summer she had the fruits of winter, because she was a true obedient servant of God.
Okay. Okay.
She
Wow.
is my actually my first role model. To think about it, I was studying in Methodist school for 5 years. So I've read the Bible, I've attended chapel, I sing hallelujah, praise the Lord, and I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Since I
Okay.
was a kid, this you
Okay.
didn't
This is
know.
new. This is new.
Aha.
This is new.
So this, I mean, adding on to all this, in the last 2 weeks, I actually met so many Christian friends who I kept telling them, hey, dude, I come from everywhere. We will speak about whatever life, love, marriage, everything under the sun. And suddenly the topic of religion will come back. And as we were speaking, I always want to respect people's space and boundary. And not everyone can handle the spirituality and religious conversation. So I will ask them, are you comfortable with this if we speak about, because we will speak and then they are like, I can sense who loves it and who's uncomfortable. And they're like, not too much. Little bit is fine. And then I would just share, do you know that Jesus is coming?
Okay. Wow.
I used to
Okay.
speak about I used to speak about the Antichrist coming, but I think he is already here. Like forget about the Antichrist. Like we are at a station where Jesus is coming.
Okay. Wow. Hmm.
And I don't
Okay.
know how many of your Christian friends talk about it, but I've been talking about it in the last 2 weeks.
I'm actually Buddhist, so
Oh, sorry to say that. Yeah, yeah, I didn't know that. Okay, so
yeah.
Jesus is coming, and that's the conversations I keep having because it's not because I want to talk about it because I'm crazy and I do research. These are signs that I get, and I'm like, oh my god, the end is so near.
No, don't worry,
I,
don't worry.
yeah,
The
and
thing
and
is that even if with my religion is my father and at least both my parents have taught me tolerance and infant acceptance to every principle of every religion. Because, like for example, Buddhism, of course, kindness to any living being. However,
yeah,
in Christianity, we are taught self-sacrifice, something that Jesus Christ did at the cross. And
yeah,
to the Muslim principle, which is very heavily emphasized here in Indonesia, we are taught that a heavens is beneath mother's foot because we need to
oh,
respect our mother. So
betul. But not
yeah,
all mothers, yeah. Mothers, please don't misuse this statement, yeah.
at
Don't
least
turn your feet into hell for your children, please. Please, please.
no, but yeah, I get I think you get
I
what I
have to
mean.
say it. I have the authority to say it. We have to say it. Don't turn your feet into hell for your children. Make it a heaven space, please. Two ways,
Okay.
be fair. It's a two-way street.
It's
Betul, but
true.
true,
Yeah,
right?
it's true. Yeah, it's
So
true.
my encounter with Christians, coming back to that, was because it was a Christian organization, so we are at this. The last I met this lady, she's a Filipino living in Japan.
Oh,
We were
okay.
talking about women empowerment in Japan. We were talking about life. We're talking about whatever, being a expat and stuff. And we were talking about stuff, and she went like, I got so angry when my boyfriend called me religious. I'm like, what? Yeah, she used to be she used to follow a missionary. So she used to
Okay.
be a nun. And she
Okay.
got out of everything. I told her, you are not angry with God, I hope. You're angry with how the system is. And she was
Yep.
like, Zai, yes. Thank you for pointing that out. She didn't realize. So she got angry with God and she don't want to be involved or be associated with religion at all.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I'm
Okay.
like, wow, you used to be a missionary. You must have so much of love for God in your heart, but how come, right? And then the second time we spoke, we were talking again about women empowerment in Japan. We're planning a trip. I'm going to be in so next year I'm going to be in Dubai in Jan, India in Feb, March Japan, UK April. It's like crazy travels next year. So when I
Yep.
spoke to her, the second call at the end, she said, "Yeah, talking to you make me feel comfortable mentioning God again.
Okay. Wow. Good for her.
Talking
Good for her.
Talking to you, yeah, make me feel comfortable mentioning God again." And I'm like, dude, I need to just be me and just go out there and just embrace the
Do it.
world.
Yep.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just doing what I can to the best of my ability again.
Okay.
So good for her. I was so happy for her. And I'm like, oh God, praise the Lord, really. Like,
Yep.
so there's no such thing as I am a Muslim and I should. It's my dream to speak in a Christian organization like a church. I think I told you. Did I tell you? No.
I think you did, but it was really like just a vague at that time.
Brave, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
and why not? Why not? Do not judge us because of our hijab or because of our color and because of whatever. Speak to
Absolutely.
someone, find the wisdom in them, see how it can help your community, and that's how we grow locally and globally. Yeah.
Okay. Tying in a bit on religion, yeah, because one of my biggest takeaway when I'm back to Indonesia around now is hitting to 1 year.
Yeah.
Ironically, being an Indonesian, so the thing is that one of my biggest takeaway is the for my dad especially is on the area of spiritual development because to him there's three key pillars to a person. Is firstly is IQ, EQ, and your spiritual side. In terms of IQ, I think he's confident enough. And well, EQ, I have 20 episodes whereby I interview people from who is a Singaporean but grew up in Texas to an Italian who lived in China for over 30 years. So I think I'm good enough with EQ to talk to any kind of different individuals.
Yeah, you
But
are.
spiritual,
Your IQ is high. I can feel. I know.
thank you.
Then, yeah.
But the spiritual side is, I believe it's something that he feels I'm lacking. It's because, well, in Singapore, we live in a metropolitan city, so it's always go to work, get out of work, and then by that time it's typical Netflix and chill, or you just sleep. You literally just sleep on the weekends. So, how has spirituality has actually for yourself? How has it actually been really helpful for your side on your entrepreneurship journey or your personal life also? Has there ever been like any kind of miracles or any kind of events where you believe in the higher power and it helps in what you are doing at that time?
Oh, we need another episode for this. No,
Okay,
no,
but I think I
no. Let's
only
talk about it. I was kidding.
no, don't worry. I would love to have you again, but the thing is
No, no,
I
no,
have to
no,
do
no.
it when you
Let's
are
talk about it.
overseas.
No, no, no. Of course. I mean, hearing me speak, I think a person with IQ and EQ would know that it is the pillar that I hang on to. Basically, it's the rope of hope of God that I hang on to. I've always
Okay.
said this, and I still say the same. Um, I'm born Muslim, never practicing. My dad used to be a Bilal. He actually calls out the Imam. He leads people in prayers. I always watch him pray. I'm like, I don't need to pray. God is in my heart. Like, are you kidding me? So I didn't pray for a long time until even after my accident, nothing changed. And then it's funny because I went for physiotherapy.
Okay. Yeah.
90% of the physio movement for back strengthening is like the prayer movement, the Muslim
Okay.
prayer movement.
Okay. Okay. Wow.
And the thing about it, that even Jesus actually prostrate. That's like prayer movement that he did was similar to Muslim. So
Okay.
90% of movement were like the prayer movement, and I'm like, why is this Chinese doctor teaching me how to pray? I actually said it out of my heart, like a joke, like ego, guys. This is the ego or something. But yeah, anyways, I said it. But I didn't think much about it. I didn't think about, oh, I need to pray. No. So after that, I went to see my specialist. He went like, I was like, Doctor He, my spine is still painful after all this. Like, what do I do? So he sent me to a pain management doctor. So another doctor. So I met a pain management doctor. She told me, whatever your physio taught you, do it in an interval of 2 to 3 hours
Okay.
for 5 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, not too hard. So I have paper. I have to like document how I feel after that and stuff. So it was like our prayer timing actually. We have the sun before sunrise, then 9 a.m. there's a prayer, and 1 p.m. there's a prayer, 4 p.m. there's a prayer, 7 p.m., 9 p.m., and then in the evening, later night.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
like,
That. Wow.
God is saying something to me again, but what is it now? Still ego. Don't want to pray. Don't want to turn back to him. He already pulled you by my collar. He broke my spine. He's like, come back to me. Still ego, 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 right? Ego game.
Yeah.
So this is our problem. We are fighting so much to survive in this world, and we forgot who is the creator of this world.
Okay. Huh. Okay.
We are fighting so hard to live in this world, to survive, not to thrive and flourish and whatever. We are fighting so hard to live in this world, to survive, and we forgot who is the creator of this world.
Okay.
It's like we are fighting with our mother, but we forgot where we came
Oh,
from.
yeah. Yeah. Our mother.
Ouch.
Okay.
Ouch. Happy Mother's Day, people. But yeah. We are fighting with our father. We forgot where we came from. That's our
Absolutely.
physical parent. Then our teachers are our spiritual parents. And of course, there's God. So, so was ego. I didn't want to pray. I not that I wanted to start. I'm like, I didn't know how to. I haven't prayed for so long. I knew how to pray, but I'm like, not, it's so hard to start. So then
Yeah.
I met this ustaz. He was teaching my nieces the Quran. So I went like, you know what? I want to pray, but I'm just too lazy to start. Can you tell me what to do?
With that tone. Oh. Oh God. Oh, good.
Bodoh
Okay.
sombong ya? I don't know is it bodoh sombong, but I was trying. I was just asking an honest question. That's how I am, very honest, right? Okay, so I want to pray, but I'm too lazy to start. Can you show me a way? So he said, recite the salutations of the Prophet, the salawat.
Okay.
And when
Okay.
I read that, they said just read that 100 times every day. I'm like, oh, okay, it's like chanting, kan? So I said,
Yep.
okay, I can do better than that. I can do additional something else for 100 times. So I read that for almost 40 days. One day, I've never really shared this on an interview. Thank you for asking this.
Yep.
One day I was sleeping next to my mom. I remember it was about 2, 3 a.m. I heard a voice that said, I'm gonna say it in Malay because you have Indonesian guests, right? They will understand this. It's like,
Yep.
solat lah. Kenapa nggak mau solat? Kan dunia sudah mau kiamat.
Okay. To help you guys translate also,
I
Solat is okay. All
I
right.
translate.
Please, please.
Pray, pray. Why don't you pray? The world is coming to an end.
Okay.
And
Wow.
that voice said it again. Solat, why don't you want to pray? The world is coming to an end. And this was 14 years ago. And I was like, good one. I hugged my mom and I slept. I was so afraid. But that morning I woke up and then I started praying.
Okay.
Since then,
Okay. Okay.
so that was a good, like, dude, if you don't listen to this, I don't know what else and how else to help you. So the thing is, that's one. And then, of course, over time, I learned. I didn't go to a masjid to learn again. I had to go to the convert center because
Okay.
I told my sister, like, dude, we need to zero our cup. Don't think that, oh, I know this, so I just am going to practice this. Learn to, even in life, personal development. Sometimes we know something, but there's a lot of things we don't know what we don't know. So
Okay.
I said, let's start from ground zero. I didn't go to a masjid, not a Muslim center. I went to a convert center to learn from zero
Hmm. Well,
because
it
I
was
saw diri. I knew where I stood, and I'm like, it's okay. I know maybe like 10%. So it's like zero the cup. Just go and relearn, unlearn, learn, and relearn. Right?
yep, correct.
This is it. This too in this area. This is the most important because like, and I think a lot of people struggle with balancing our work life, our worldly life with our hereafter life. And then
Yeah.
I used to have that struggle. Like if I work, I forget about spirituality, God.
Okay.
Then
Yeah.
I ask myself, who's the one who's giving you this intellection? There
Okay.
is a name of God, Allahumma ya alim ya hakim ya rashid. He is the one who is maha yang ada ilmu, who has
Okay.
wisdom,
Yes,
who
the
is
wisdom.
teaching you. So who is teaching you? Do you think you know it, or is there someone teaching it to you? Of course,
All
there's
right.
a teacher, but kita ni semua alat. We are just a medium and a vessel of God. So
All right.
that light, that knowledge, that everything,
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. All
something
right.
to
Let
reflect
me.
on.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Let me just adjust. Let me just
Breathe,
digest it.
breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah, we forget where we come from. We don't know who we are. We think we own the world. Nothing is ours. Like my
Okay.
mom, she had everything, house, children, everything, and now she's gone. Where's she? What is all this? Doesn't make sense.
All right. All right.
But it doesn't mean she didn't live her life. She lived a life well lived, and I'm so damn proud of her.
All right. Okay.
Ha,
Zai.
yes.
Sorry. Okay. So, with regards to one of your earlier statements of where you come from, yeah. So, this is actually correlate with a LinkedIn post that you did recently. I actually commented on it. I liked it. So, so your question is, would you quit your job because you have a bad boss or supervisor? So, my reply to you is because a bad boss would in the end would create a bad supervisor, and because in a big corporation they don't really look at you as a person. They don't care about the people's driven. Not the thing is because it's so large. It's because at the end of the day they look at the numbers. So as long as the numbers keep on producing, they are not going to bother of what's going on at the end.
Yeah.
Especially if you're just one person who is like a tiny piece of the machine, if you want to put it, yeah.
Yeah.
So you highlighted of something called the power struggle versus objective and people driven. Now, my question to you is this: how can a corporation actually, like yourself as an entrepreneur, how can an organization itself maintains, maybe, well, you can't always please everybody, but
Correct.
maintain a very civil, efficient working environment that still produces what is the initial objective? Because I've worked in an organizations, in fact several of which is owned by people whose background is in sales,
Yeah.
and then when they become a managing director, their mindset is still in sales. In the
Yeah.
end, all the back end is forgotten, the HR is forgotten, other than the fact that it's the sales number, it's a games number. So,
Right.
how do you think can such an organization make sure that the base, the very objective of how they started the business, is stable enough and is efficient, can produce efficiency?
Wow, that's a very big question.
Maybe,
Okay, so put
maybe
that.
if it's easier, you
Yeah,
can just
yeah, I
uh,
can answer that. But
yep,
it's a big question. Great question, Calvin. So,
yep,
well, like I said, no, I moved into writing books and speaking workshops, and now I'm moving in the space of corporate engagements. So
yep,
there's a timely question why I am even moving into that space because I
yeah,
find that have a lot of one-on-one coaching clients who come to me because I wrote the book Turn Your Passion into Profits. They think that I'm teaching them okay how to start a business because I can't stand my boss and I just want to quit, and that's
okay,
why I can comment and write on the article. And when I
yep,
speak to them as we go on with coaching, we realize they love the job. It's not about the job. It's not about their attitude towards the job also. and
Okay.
then sometimes it is the supervisor, manager, or boss. But most of the time, it's how they react to these people. So
Okay.
instead of changing your external environment, you cannot change people.
Yep.
No way.
Absolutely.
You can't even change yourself sometimes. How do you want to change people? Dream on. For those of you who get married and think, oh, I can change my spouse, good luck to you. You may never. But if you do, good on you. But the relationship, yeah. Anyways, coming back to the ladies and people I work with on my mentorship program, I help them identify what are their struggles. Is it a
Okay.
fear? Or is it a frustration? Is it because I really cannot fit in? Or is it because of a past childhood trauma that says, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, I'm stupid, I'm useless, I'm ugly? And when you go to work, you feel like you are getting that. Sometimes it's our own self sabotaging beliefs.
Yes.
Okay. But so I always don't want to just say, oh, the bosses are like that. Oh, the bosses are like that. What if you have a egocentric boss? I mean, who's not egocentric?
Everybody
But
is.
yeah,
Yeah.
who's not, right? So we don't want to blame it on the boss. But also look back at ourselves. How are we? How grateful are we for each and every moment?
Okay.
But having said that, there are also toxic, narcissistic people in the world. And unfortunately or fortunately, I'm not saying all leaders, most leaders are like that because you get success and authority and everything up here. You forgot your heart.
Yep.
So that's where we come in to say that resilient, compassionate leaders enable resilient team.
Absolutely. Okay.
Compassionate, confident, sorry. Resilient, compassionate leaders enable confident, compassionate teams. Because
Mm-hmm.
if I am a leader, I want a leader. If I have a leader or I am a leader, I want to be that resilient leader. Resilient doesn't mean I'm strong and I am in power. Resilient means I have my physical resilience, emotional resilience, my my
Yep.
spiritual, social resilience in check. It's
Okay.
about my inner leadership. It's about my servanthood to people. And then I am compassionate because I have struggles and I know you have struggles. Let's work on that. Then you will enable confident, compassionate teams. And so at the end of the day, it's both bosses, managers, supervisors, teams who need to work on their inner leadership and understand who they are, why are they in that organization, how do they align their purpose with meaning with the organization's mission and vision, and then get things done.
Okay.
And that's where we want to come in as solution providers.
Okay. Do you have any kind of recommendations, such as book or any kind of personal development resources to create confident, compassionate leaders, as what you mentioned?
I'm going to work on that book, Confident, Compassionate, Resilient Leaders. As I'm going to write a book, Five Dimensions of Resilience,
Okay.
coming out.
That's good to know.
But books that I have read that has helped me, I started with Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad Poor Dad, Retire Young, Retire Rich. Those are good for entrepreneurial. Um, I love like works of Maulana Rumi.
Okay.
Those are online. I don't know if they have books per se, but I read a lot of quotes and hang on to those and reflect on those. I've been running back to the Quran and the Bible and the books. What's the Buddhist book?
Uh, in Indonesia, we call it Kitab Suci, but
Kitab
not
Suchi,
really.
the holy book. Yeah, go back to the holy books. Actually, if you really, really study personal development, like whatever Tony Robbins, Oprah, and everyone's talking about, everything is in the holy books.
Yeah.
It's nothing new. It's nothing new. Nothing new at all. Just that the way we present it and being that vessel of God, how we present it, that's the difference. Everyone has to do it.
I think it's more towards approach also. I'm actually a big fan of Sir Richard Branson. So
Of
one of the
course.
thing with him is that he's really a maverick. Is that whenever I believe a lot of his business ventures started because of the word "it's fun." It will
Yeah.
be fun. So
Yeah.
as a result, all of his board of directors will, oh no, here we go again.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. For me too, to start something, I always feel like if it's not fun, it doesn't excite me, I don't feel happy doing it, I can't. It's fake,
absolutely.
it's not me. So I know I need to step up my game.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
not that anymore. Yeah.
Mm, okay. Okay. That's wow. That is really informative. Oh, okay, okay. So yeah, for those of you who are who is interested in how to be a better leader, a better person, do check out Zai's book. She's the one that is upcoming is soon, but she already has two that's already
Active goals,
released.
yeah. Turn your
Yeah.
passion into profits and five things I love about being a woman.
All right.
So yeah, entrepreneurship, motivation, and work on getting past your past. I think that's very important.
All right.
Many people
Okay.
don't want to go back there, but it's some space you wanna work on to accelerate your growth.
No, actually, sometimes I agree with that. The reason being is that when I come back to Indonesia, one of the thing I realize is that there are certain parts that I'm missing in my own personal development that I
Okay.
never managed to do it because, well, I live away from my parents for years. And you come back here, you get to see all the differences. Like, for example, you can have somebody, it's because Indonesians tend to be really, really, really approachable and friendly, especially those who are native. And when they say something to you or they ask you a question, it can be seem a bit too intrusive. I have a Gojek driver who ever asked me like, "Hi, how are you?" The first 2 minutes, then, "Are you married?" A Gojek driver who I don't even know who, other than seeing his name on the app. Okay, thank you.
Interesting. Why do you think they asked this question?
Well, the thing is this.
Conversational or
It's conversational. It's really, really conversational. The thing
like
is
it's
this.
so personal?
Yeah, it's really personal. But the thing is this. After spending time like outside of the city, because this is my house here. So one of the things you realize is that because the community here is closely knit, so to the point that they can easily just treat people as a family. But if you are not used to it, of course, when you approach them, it's like, okay, even my own mother don't ask me this kind of questions.
Exactly. I do,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, it's just more of course your attitude and of course on tolerance. Yeah. Okay, Zai, this is actually my last question for you. What three advice would you give to somebody who is leaving school now and about to enter the real world? So it can be a college student, or maybe if you are the equivalent of high school, which is polytechnic in Singapore, because now you are about to enter the real world, you are about to work. So a lot of times, because when we exit education system is because, well, we don't know, we might have already have an idea what we wanted
Mm.
because that's what we studied, but eventually we enter crossroads whereby we are like, okay, what am I doing? Do I really want to do this? What would you advise to them, actually, Zai?
Don't take your parents' advice.
Oh,
Rafa,
okay.
I was kidding again.
Okay.
Sammy. Okay, no, that was a joke. That was to wake you up. It's too early in the morning. Anyways, yeah. Well, that's what I did. I never listened to my elders. I followed my heart. I
Okay. Okay.
knew I didn't want to be like anyone. So
Okay.
my role models were always when I look at them, I'm like, I'm not going to grow up like that. When I have had business mentors and I'm like, he's multimillionaire, but I'm like, I'm not gonna have an attitude like that. So I knew what I didn't want.
Okay.
So at least I tried not to be that. So when
Mm.
everyone was going out to look for a job, I okay, so tip number one, list down all the knowledge and skills that you already possess
Okay.
and know that you are already enough. Look at that and see how you can monetize from that.
Okay.
Starting
Okay.
a business is not easy,
Yeah.
but it's not impossible. If I could bring henna art to Japan, if I could have started my online business and made money after I break my spine, and that has made a million mark. Even with the henna, we've made a million mark. That's why we received an honorary business award recently, 2 years ago.
Congratulations.
Sorry,
Belated congratulations.
yeah, yeah. Jadi it's not impossible, right? And I started stuff, and then even now with this motivational training company, with the books and speaking and everything, nothing is impossible. It takes time. So step number one, write down your knowledge and skills and look at what you already possess and see how that can make money for you.
Okay.
Number two, if you are able to work, go and work. Oh, actually, like last year, I thought maybe I should just go work for McDonald's because I wanted to learn the system.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Last year.
System. Last year,
Okay.
like while I was losing my mom, I was just like, do I want to do this still? Like, but I wanted to learn system. I wanted to learn discipline.
Okay.
And like I never worked in an office 9 to 5. I always did my own thing. So I thought maybe I should. So if you are a young person coming out, if you can get a job, just go out there and work because it teaches you discipline. Like if work is 9 to 5, you need to wake up, you need to prepare yourself. Go and you don't do it for the rest of your life, but the tendency of you being stuck in a job for the rest of your life is high. So that's a risk you need to take. Okay, so know what skills and knowledge you have. Go try to work for someone if you can. If it's a SME, go and build the SME for them, and then you will understand what other skills and knowledge you have. Maybe you don't know, but it will help unleash your talents. Okay, and thirdly, never give anyone the permission to step into your boundary.
Okay.
You need to know what you're comfortable with. You need to know when to learn to say no. And sometimes you're like, oh no lah, maybe he's just being kind, or maybe she's just tired, or maybe she's just da 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 da. No, maybe listen to your heart and believe in yourself, because there are many nice people in the world, but there are also many jackasses and jerks in the world. So you
No,
need
no
to
worry, no worry. This
know.
channel doesn't really have much filter since I myself use it.
Yeah, good. So we need to know that because you don't want to let one person like that make you lose trust in the world and then just destroy you. I used to
Absolutely.
come from that space where, oh my God, I cannot trust the world. The world is like that. No, I allowed that situation or whatever to happen.
Don't let the first failure to be the one that define the whole thing, right?
Correct. And if that has happened, learn to forgive and cut that person off from your life. Learn to forgive yourself for having been in that situation and look at why you actually allowed that to happen. And if for whatever reason it's to be like, yeah, whatever, just learn to forgive yourself and move forward because at the end of the day, you need to know what you truly want in life and move forward. It can be a
Absolutely.
parent, it can be a sibling, it can be an ex boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, but everyone who come okay, fourth advice, everyone who comes into your life is a huge lesson, but they may need to be just a chapter 1, 2, or 5 in your life. After that, don't allow them to stay in your whole book.
Absolutely.
Don't
Okay. Or at
allow,
least the next chapter of the book, yeah?
yeah, or don't let them to be in the next chapter of the book or the next book also. Close the chapter. That's it.
Okay,
It's
okay.
hard, it's hard, but it's not impossible. As if you have to lose 1 or 2 people in your life for your sanity, for your peace of mind, peace of heart, do it.
Okay, okay. That's actually a really that's actually a good advice because a lot of time people have attachments issues that we do not let go and we don't know it, but it's actually the one that could be dragging us down. So yeah, thanks so
Yeah,
much on that one, Zai. Okay,
very much.
that's
Be mindful who you exchange your energy and time with. I never
absolutely
knew this. I never knew this for a long time. Only recently, I think, since my mom was going to pass, then I started valuing my time, my space, my being. Like, God, I don't have much time. What am I doing? This is not a playground to play in. No time. So be very mindful who you exchange your energy and give time to.
all right.
I'm glad I'm exchanging my time and energy for you guys.
Hope it's been good for you.
Hopefully it benefits you guys. Yeah. Go
All right.
on. Yeah.
All right. And with that, that's actually my last question. So yeah, so I already mentioned it before the start of the show. So happy belated Mother's Day to the mothers of the world.
Yes.
And for the upcoming one is Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and also oh yes, for some people who might be celebrating it, which is actually my previous guest the yesterday, is
Mm.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy apa?
Hanukkah.
Hanukkah, what's that?
It's a Jewish traditional holiday. That
Oh,
is
Happy
something
Hanukkah.
like an equivalent of a Christmas, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I describe it wrongly because I do not know the full detail,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
please make sure, please just take note. I'm really not trying to offend
Yeah,
anyone. I
yeah.
really just
Happy holidays, everyone. Yeah.
yeah. All right. Zai, do you have anything you want to mention? Maybe with regard to an upcoming workshop. You already mentioned your books or anything.
Yeah, so there's the books. You can find me on zaimistiq.com. I'll be in Dubai, and like I said, I'll be traveling a lot the next 6 months. So just follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube to follow my stories. And hopefully, if I'm in your city, I would love to do something and get together and meet awesome people.
All right. Some of Zai's social media is already in the description box. For those of you who are interested to try out maybe something that you want to do, like maybe a podcast like what I'm doing now, you can try the link of StreamYard. It's in the description box. You will get 10% off, $10 off your credit. And if you're ever interested to try out like what I'm doing now, just try it out.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do it.
All right. And with that, that's the end of Global Citizens. So my final episode for 2019 is actually on the 30th of December.
Wow.
My guest will actually be a book publisher. So if you guys are ever interested, maybe you can reach out after the end of the show. Yeah. And with that, thank you so much, Zai. And I end my episode 20. See ya.
Thank you. Bye.